right here in Moscow from the Jackson's House of Dynamics on the Blessed Jackson Show, and it's really good to see you again. Well, the weather is pretty cold, but it's been a very gorgeous weekend, and we're hoping for a great week right here in Moscow. So what are we talking about this week? We're going to talk about how to know why your man or woman cheats on you and what to do next. Last week we talked about why men and women cheat. So this week we'll find out how to know just that. Is it by the looks? Is it by the attitude? Does something change? I mean, how can you say, oh, my man is cheating on me? But don't go away, because I'll be right back after the short break and we will find out how to know that he or she is cheating on you. You are still watching the Blessed Jackson Show.
Okay, why do
Please
men
stand
and
by.
women cheat?
We'll be right back.
First of all, I think it dates from evolution. Animals as well as humans are polygamous in nature, and we can see it in animals, and actually there are only 3 animals that have sex for pleasure: human beings, pigs, and dolphins. Each of them don't keep to one wife, so we can assume that nature made us to be polygamous. And why? The purpose is for reproduction and to ensure the success of future generations. Now, there's a difference between desire and ethics or principles. We all have the desire to, naturally, to be successful, to give birth, to multiply. But we live in a society that supports monogamy and being faithful to your partner. So we have to suppress, I would say, suppress those temptations, those desires, and try to stick to one woman or one girl. Secondly, a man and a woman will cheat because he might not be getting what he wants from his partner, his or her partner. That's the second reason, and he believes that the best way is to get it outside instead of trying to rectify it, or maybe it's not rectifiable. Now, the third reason why people cheat, it's because they want to feel current. For example, old men would like to cheat because they want to feel like they can still get the youngest girls, or they are not like from the previous century or previous generation, they are kind of still current, so they might want to cheat. One other reason can be power and influence. People could also cheat on their spouse because the person they're going to be with, or they're going to have an affair with, confers some form of advantage, either financially, in form of power, in form of influence, and stuff like that. So
The point here is, okay, let's start with the men. How do you know your man is cheating on you? Some change. They become very, very nasty, very criticizing. Every little fault you do, or every little thing you do that is wrong, they point it out. They try to compare you with other women. They just don't, they even stop having sex with you, or the sex life dwindles. I mean, it's really, really painful. You just watch a man slipping from you. While some of them will begin to tell you the old excuses, like they have meetings, they have long hours at the office, they are going to travel for a conference, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, some men are very smart, and those are the men we're talking about. So many smart men out there. They become better in bed. They do every little thing that you've always dreamt of. They become the perfect husbands. I mean, they bring you flowers, they even cook with you, they give you the best sex ever, even if they are tired. You can never even have a hint. But let me tell you, as a woman, the instinct is always there. Somehow you're gonna know that something is different, that your man is kind of changed, that your man is cheating on you. And again, we ladies, we don't like to hear the truth, so it's good for you to listen. We're not saying you should listen to one person, but when you hear different people talking about your man, that your man is doing something sneaky, are you really ready to handle the truth? Do you think you really want to know if your man is cheating on you? And that's the point of all this, because a man cheating on you depends on his character. We have sanguine, we have phlegmatic men, we have choleric, and we have melancholic men, and these men have different characters. Some are extroverts and introverts, so their cheating standard is different. But you do your run, and you know when something is wrong. And when something is wrong, some of them even do the thing you always know. They don't let you see their phones, they hide their messages, they have sudden passwords. You know, you hear of them with women in their car and stuff. It's really true. Maybe he's cheating on you.
The first proof is he starts acting strange. For example, a sudden change in grooming. For example, he changes his style of. I'm not saying this is definitive. I'm just saying this is one of the many characteristics. He changes his hairstyle, something he doesn't usually do. This is usually because he wants to please someone else. The second hint could be maybe your partner has always been asking for something, and all of a sudden he stops asking for it without you giving it to him or her. That may also mean that he or she is getting that same thing from outside and doesn't need to ask for it anymore. Another hint could be insensitivity. It's no more, he doesn't really care much about how you feel or your opinions about certain things. Another hint could be when he or she tells you that I'm gonna cheat on you, I think you better take it serious because he or she may be willing to may already have a lead and is already prepared to prove it to you. Another hint could be, which is usually very popular, or I would say very common, could be he's not confident in public. For example, he doesn't want to hold your hand in public. He doesn't want the camera to see him or her in public. He looks away when you're together. He tries to look away from you or something like this. Also, another proof could be he returns late from work without any explicit reason, or he has an appointment and he prefers to set the appointment late in the night. I mean, that's his preferred work time, no more 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. Another proof could be maybe his perfume. You could smell it from his or her perfume. This is not the normal Miyake perfume he uses. This is some other strawberry flavor. Another hint could be he doesn't tell you the things he tells you. For example, maybe he says he loves you, he stops saying that. Yeah, that's because he doesn't feel, or he or she doesn't feel the need to say that. He even feels guilty saying that.
And so your man is cheating on you, you find out, what next? What are you gonna do? Do you break down and cry? You're allowed to cry. You actually allowed few tears, you have to cry, you even break some things in the house to satisfy your anger. But what next after the tears? My greatest advice to you are just two, depending on which you choose. Do nothing or do something. Do nothing as in you don't go to the other woman, you don't tell your husband about it, you just become a better woman, the woman that everyone dreams to have. You have to find out the things that the other woman has and try to do something about it. And try to be, you don't have to be that woman, but you're going to be a better woman. Whatever he found in that woman, whatever quality he found in that woman, is probably what he saw when he was getting married to you. There's something called variety in life. Men love variety. So the point is, even if you feel, oh, I don't want to do the things that that woman does, there are some things you just have to try. We have midlife crisis in men. Some men, when they get older, or even when they are young, they still want something new. You just want something new. That is why you cannot be static in life. You have to be dynamic. You have to know when to change. You have to role play. You have to do fantastic things to keep your man interested. He's a human being, so you have to keep him interested. But then do something. You only have one option besides do nothing, is do something. You can talk to him and tell him you know that he's cheating on you. But what is the problem? Should you solve it or should you leave? But my advice to you is don't just leave. Don't just walk away. Give it a chance. Unless he's beating you up, then maybe you can leave. Unless he's the dog, the male dog version that he keeps cheating all the time and endangers you by bringing diseases, then maybe you can leave. But if he's not any of that, then you can stay and work it out. It is your home. You build that home. You don't let someone else come in and take over. You do something. You talk to him and tell him what happened. Who do you really want me to be? What went wrong in our marriage? What do you want from me? I'm ready to work it out. You don't shout at him. You don't throw tantrums. You don't nag him. You don't cry. You don't make him feel guilty. No, you don't make him feel guilty, because if you make him feel guilty, he's just gonna change, but he will not be. He will go back. He will not be impressed. So the point is,
not to know if your woman is cheating on you. Wow, that's quite complex, because women are the most complex creatures you can ever think of. you can never catch a woman. It's quite difficult because they're very good. Well, let's see, but there are some basic symptoms you can use to know if a woman is cheating on you. For example, she begins to suddenly have a mysterious friend, and then she begins to visit her friends and tells you she can't come around, or maybe she doesn't pick your phone calls, or whenever she does, she speaks in hushed tones or is quite busy. She always cooks up stories, you know, like, hello, I can't hear you, stuff like that. Then she begins to be disinterested in sex, and even when she has the sex, you can sense the fact that she's not really there. She can probably fake an orgasm. If you're smart to know that this is not the usual way she does, you know that something is really wrong. And then she begins to take interest in buying, looking good, buying good underwear, making her hair, fixing her hair properly, I mean looking very, very attractive, because she knows that there's someone out there who is going to see her. And then she begins to ask you of things less more often. For example, because normally she would ask you for some money for this and that, but she won't really bother if you don't give it to her. Another one is she has a lot of mood swings. She gets very angry with you all the time. Yeah, we're not the one of being pregnant and the one of having PMS. That is why it's so confusing, because you can't really tell them apart. She begins to nag you very often, and she gets mad at every little thing you do. There are other factors in it, but the point is women like to talk. So when your woman reduces the way she talks to you, then you know something is really wrong, because women like to share their whole day, like to seek for advice. But when she doesn't like that anymore, you want to first seek advice or counsel with someone out there, and you know that she's probably no longer much interested in you because she has someone who is keeping her busy. Well, it's left for you to know what to do afterwards, because if you think there are telltale signs to know when your woman is cheating on you, it's quite difficult. I cannot give you that. I'm sorry guys, but that's just the way it is. You have to judge by your own woman and say, oh, something is wrong, and here it is, because I can't say this is the way I'm gonna do and that's the way she's gonna do, because many women will talk to say you can't really know for sure.
First of all, in fact, I'm just gonna tell him that I'm hanging out with my friends, especially female friends, and then second of all, I'll pretend to be so tired that maybe it's most times so sleepy that I won't get it. That's the right thing. I think I like to cheat on my man.
Because of the sexual life, then maybe you guys can talk it over and try to repair the sexual life and know what is wrong in the sex. And then maybe you try to, organize whatever is missing. You might go for the medical checkup and stuff. But if she's not cheating on you for the sexual life financially, then you have two reasons. You either become financially capable, which is tough in today's world, or you're not, and she just has to cope with that. If it's for the attention, and maybe because you're so busy with work and all that, then probably you should try spending more time with her. Should you leave your woman because she's cheating on you? I really don't think so, as usual. I never advise anybody to leave just like that, unless you feel you can't take it anymore. If she's an addictive cheater, then maybe you can leave her. But if she's not, then maybe you should stay and consider what is really wrong. We women, we are very, very emotional. You can get us back if you just want the right buttons to push. Just give her the love, the attention, the sex, and try to take care of her and try to talk to her and explain. Like I always say, do something or do nothing. The do something here is talk to her and explain why you don't have the money, why you are financially capable, and you are doing all your best. Show her that you are really doing all your best to be very much there for her and the kids, that the time you spend away from her and the kids is for her own good. And the little time, another thing is, even if you're so busy, try to make her at least 20 minutes a day to talk to your woman, to help her out in the kitchen. 20 minutes. It should be a regular thing, that even the day you miss the 20 minutes, she's not going to notice, because you have always been there for her. Give her the care. But if you feel you cannot stay, then do nothing and just watch it. But never, of course, never beat her up for that. Never go to the other man to ask why, and never ever feel inferior, and never ever say, oh, why are you cheating on me, and you start nagging her all day and making her feel so guilty that she will practically run to the other man for refuge. So that's my
Thank you for being with us, and we really appreciate all your comments and your criticism. Well, we'll be back again maybe in 2 weeks' time to tell you about how to know when you're in love or if he or she loves you. Please stay with us. Remember, as always, we love you. Have a nice time.